So here we go. I'm going to take my developer. It's diluted 1-to-1 with water. And I'm going to start my timer. My timer's going. I set it at 28 minutes. You can set it at 30 minutes. It doesn't really matter. And then I just pour in my developer nice and easy, not too quickly. If you try to pour it in too fast, you might spill some developer on the table, and that would be a messy start to your session. So there we go, it's finished. And when that's done, this is important, wrap your tank on the side of the table there a few times, and that gets rid of any potential water bubbles. Okay, you put the lid back on, or you put the cap back on, and then you just agitate it like so. So a quarter turn each time. And you do that for the first, the first 30 seconds. And then you agitate it again for 10 seconds on the minute. So there we go. Now, ten seconds, and then let it sit for another minute. So the purpose of the cloth will, sometimes these tanks leak a little bit, so it's better to use the cloth to absorb what leaks out of the tank than to let it spill onto the table or even worse onto your shirt, right? So yeah, that's why I like, and also I like to use the cloth because it protects the tank from my body temperature, because my body temperature is going to be warmer than the 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees centigrade of the chemical. So I don't want to raise the temperature by putting it in my hand and agitating. So there's another minute, and I pick it up and I agitate. Quarter turn, inversion, another quarter turn, inversion, quarter turn, inversion, like so. For 10 minutes. And then when I'm finished with the developer, I pour it back into its original container. I don't pour it down the drain. That's old school. That's what we used to do back in the day. But now, we've got to protect our environment, and it has to be going back. And then you put it into take it into some recycling depot somewhere once you're finished with it. Okay, there's a minute, so I pick it up and do a few inversions. So for me, I do about 6 inversions in 10 seconds. So 10 seconds of agitation will be about 6 inversions for me. Other people might go a little quicker, others might be a little faster or a little slower. Just depends. It's not bad having a radio going. You know, if you play the radio, of course, it can break it up a little bit. Something to listen to, but don't let it distract you from your developing, or else you could even forget that the 10 minutes is up. I'm about halfway through, so just got a little bit to go. So you're turning it a quarter turn and you're turning it upside down each time you do an inversion. So upside down and a quarter turn. I've only got about 2.5 minutes left and I'm done, and then I have to start to drain it. I start to drain my chemicals just 20 seconds before the time is up for that particular chemical. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, I'm getting ready to pour out the chemicals into its original container. So I just take the cap off. Okay, just take the cap off and then get ready to pour it back into the container. And here we, oh, there we go. Yep. So try to empty it as much as you can and then pour in your stock. Again, not too fast because you don't want to spill it on the table. And the stop starts working as soon as it hits the film. It stops the developer from developing. And that's the whole trick of the stop bath. Just stops it from developing. And so it's a very short, no more than a minute. Use my cloth here. So just a few agitations or a few inversions, and it's ready to, it doesn't matter if it goes over, it's not critical. The time isn't critical for the stop. It can be anywhere between a minute and a half. It's not a big deal. The main purpose of this stop bath is just to stop the developer. It doesn't do anything more than that. Okay, and now we're ready for the fix. That was the stop. So this being the fix, this goes in next. And again, pour it in slowly because you don't want to spill it. There we go. And you put the cap back on and do inversions for at least 30 seconds to start. And I'm going to bathe it in the fix for about 6 minutes. For 6 minutes. Yeah, it's not fresh to fix. It's not fresh. So I'm giving it some extra time. There, okay, that's been at least 30 seconds. So with the fix, you should be agitating more than you would with the developer. So you can agitate it for 10 seconds every 30 seconds, or 10 no less than 10 seconds every minute. But I think you probably should go for 10 seconds every 30 seconds to make sure it's properly fixed and evenly done. So that's 2 minutes in the fix, and I'm going to give it 30 seconds of agitation after its second minute. There. I'm going to do it for 10 seconds again. Ten seconds every 30 seconds is probably a good system for the fix. It needs more agitation in the developer. So that's 4 minutes in the fix, another 2 minutes, and I empty the tank and then put in the hypo clear. Okay, I take the cap off of the tank, get ready to pour out the fix in 10 seconds. Okay, and I pour out the fix into its original container. Nothing goes down the sewer. It all goes to a hazardous waste, home and hazardous waste depot. And they do what they need to do to it so that it's not polluting the environment. Then I put in my hypo clear. Again, being careful not to spill it. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that you want to put in the right amount of fluid into the tank. This is like a 16-ounce tank. In fact, it should only be about 14.5 US ounces. And for this hypo clear, I agitate continuously for 2 minutes. So continuously, and you can agitate and just keep going 2 minutes. Because what the purpose is of the hypo clear is you're trying to get the fix off of the film, and you're trying to reduce the washing time that you're going to have to use to wash it. Saves water, right? Instead of washing it for 20 to 30 minutes, you're going to be washing it for 5. So it saves a lot of water. So 2 minutes. Just keep agitating. And then pour the hypo clear back into its original container. It has a nice purplish color. or lilac, whatever you want to call it. Okay, that means it's doing what it should do. And now the fun part, you get to take the lid off. You get to take the lid off of the tank, if you can, that is. Take the lid off the can. And get out the rest of the chemical, and then you bring it over to your sink. And now you just, what you do is you put the reels with the film on it in the tank, and it washes in there for 5 minutes. Doesn't hurt to empty it out a couple of times. Regular tap water. I should have checked the temperature, just so that, you don't want the water to be too hot, but you want it to be about the same temperature as the other chemicals, not too different. It's just a good practice because you don't want your film emulsion to be damaged by hot water. So it's just about perfect. Yeah, I got the temperature at about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 69 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just about right. And just let it sit there for 5 minutes. Like I said, you can dump the water out a couple of times. That helps the cleaning go a little quicker. So I'm really looking forward to these 2 rolls of film coming out. Just took a few pics just a couple of days ago on Saturday, and it's the next day. It's Sunday. Let's see what comes out. This is not dummy film. This is the real deal. It's real film. My recommendation is, once you find a developer that you like, that you stick with it. There's nothing worse than people that keep switching their chemicals, switching their developer. Once you find something that works for you, stick with it. And then you'll become really good at using that particular chemical with that particular film. So this happened to be Tri-X film that I was using with D76 developer, and the D76 was diluted 1-to-1, 1 part developer, 1 part water, and that's what I'm accustomed to using. And the development time was 10 minutes. Okay, so that's about 5 minutes of washing time. The last thing you do is you use your photo flow, like there it is. And the photo flow in this bottle, it's undiluted. There's probably enough photo flow in here to last at least, a couple of decades, 20 years, I would say. So, and all you need to do today for this, all you need today for this little bit of 2 rolls of film is to put in 4 drops. And what I do, I just use my thumb, cover up the main opening, and I just wait for 4 drops to drop in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that should do it. Photo flow is very concentrated. You don't need a lot. People usually use too much. And then what you do is you put the lid back on. Okay, you don't need quite this much. As long as the film is covered. See, that's there. It's just covering it up. I'm going to wash off the lid here if it has some of the lid has some of the clearing agent still in it. So then put the cap on and agitate for about a minute with the photo flow, and then you take the lid off. So here I go for about a minute, and then I get to do the fun part, which is to hang the film. So there. Okay, so that's the 1 minute of agitation. Now I take the lid. The lid has to come off of the tank. And, oh man, this is a really good tank. It doesn't leak much at all. And it's also hard to get the lid off. So there's the lid from the tank is off. And I take my trusty squeegee now. I just give it a good rinse. Make sure there's no dust on the blades of the squeegee. So I run my finger along it, make sure there's no dust on it. And then I bring it to where I'm going to hang the film.